City Attorney's report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. I have three primary items tonight. Perfect. All right, and the final issue I have tonight is certainly a large issue. It's a cruise ship issue. It involves both the letter you received, I think it was Sunday night, Monday morning from Carib Nautical, as well as the emails that I sent you concerning the attorney, Jay Jaco.
Sean, can I interrupt you there? What was that letter?
I'm sorry?
What was the letter that we received?
I believe Sunday night from John Wells, Carib Nautical.
I didn't get a copy of it. I did not receive one.
Okay,
Did you? Yeah.
Did the rest of the commission get that?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will send it to you. Essentially, I agree with Mr. Wells to the extent that the preemption legislation that passed voids the referendum. That's why you're considering ordinances to take the place. But again, I will send you Mr. Wells' correspondence. I think he sent an amended correspondence after I responded on Sunday night. And the other item is outside counsel. You saw the email that I sent to you, I believe it was last week, where, and again, not my words, his words, Mr. Jaco said he had a conflict with the cruise lines. He thought he could draft something, but could not litigate that issue. It was my understanding the commission wanted somebody to both draft and litigate an issue. And I can understand his perspective. Let's take Mr. Wells and Carib Nautical, for instance. Even if we are not sued directly by the cruise lines, one of the witnesses in the litigation is going to be the cruise lines. And he can't, in good conscience, according to him, cross-examine with a conflict. So there's an issue there. So, you know, my take to you is, what do you want me to do? You told me to hire outside counsel. You told me to hire Mr. Jaco if I could, and I could not. He obviously says he has a conflict. Sam Gorin, who had a conflict, was the last attorney recommended, a gentleman out of Fort Lauderdale. I have not reached out to him yet because I need direction from this commission. And you wanted to hire whoever we get. So I'm not going to go out and hire somebody without your consent. So what I need from this commission is, where do we go from here?
Okay. Commissioner Weekly?
Yeah. Well, I think you ought to reach out to this other attorney, that or draft the ordinance yourself. You know, one or the other. But we need to, I mean, this has been going on for a while. We need to move forward on it. The other thing I'd like to ask, have you had any discussion at all with Pier B?
I have had some. And again, I need direction from this commission with respect to Pier B, Safer Cleaner Ships, Carib Nautical. I mean, there's a host of individuals out there that have an interest in this outcome.
I think we need to gather all the information we can and discuss with everyone that we need to discuss with to help draft any ordinances that need to be drafted.
Agreed. All stakeholders, I think.
Yeah. If I could weigh in here too, we've actually had a draft ordinance since July 20th that was provided to us by Safer Cleaner Ships. So I think that's probably where we start after our July 12th meeting with the industry, and we talked about supporting the referendum language. We received a draft ordinance on July 20th. So we may have it already to move forward. My concern is timing, is that we have 4 city commission meetings left this year. The legislative session, as Joseph mentioned, starts January 11th, and I have a real fear that the legislation will once again preempt us and let us know what we can do as a community for our 3 referendum items. So I think time is short, and I would like you to weigh in on that, Sean, the ordinance that we actually received on the 20th. Well, is it valid? I mean,
Commissioners, I think I've weighed in on that, and I have in the past. Certainly, if any one of you want to move those ordinances forward, tell me, and we'll move them forward. Again, I have some issues that they're legally valid, that we can enforce them. And again, if you want to move an ordinance forward, go ahead and tell me, and you're the sponsor, and I'll put it up for the commission consideration. And that's where we stand on that. With respect to the legislature, I understand the argument in the number of meetings we have left. Quite frankly, though, I don't think it matters what we do. The legislature is going to do whatever they want to do, irrespective of whatever action the city commission takes. And I think we saw that with respect to the referendum. You know, we enacted these 3 referendums, as the citizens did, and the legislature turned around and preempted us. So whatever we do in the next 2-3 months, they're going to do what they're going to do. And I think we're going to have to fight that legislatively. I don't think anything we do really matters here on the commission to the extent that it changes their view of the situation. It could actually be the opposite. But if we do something, then they act. I don't know.
Right.
But again, if a member of the commission wants to bring those ordinances forward, like I said before, feel free and I'll bring them forward.
Okay. Well, you've had a chance to look at them, though, Shawn. Is there a way to modify the ordinance that we've had since the 20th
Look,
in order to meet your needs?
my concern all along is the effect on private property. We have an agreement that we've taken advantage of for 30-plus years. I have a big concern for that. And Safer Cleaner Ships has addressed one of those concerns. I don't necessarily agree, and it's tough from a legal perspective. Also, they haven't addressed the second prong of the Commerce Clause. If we look at what the effect is to the beneficial effect to the local government compared to the impact on interstate commerce, that is very tough. I think in August, perhaps, even before that, I asked for, give me the data that supports that ordinance. I haven't seen data. You know, I've read through the FIU study. I have questions about that study, whether in fact it says what people represent that it says. So again, if you pass an ordinance, whatever ordinance it is, on second reading during public hearing, you have to have a valid support for that ordinance. So whatever that is, we need it.
Okay. Commissioner Hoover?
Yes, I know that there was an ordinance that was submitted at some time to us. Do we know who the author of that ordinance is?
I believe at the time it was Ralph Brooks.
Can we get confirmation on that and see what that has?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Devla?
John, if you're seeking some direction, at least from me, I would like for you to proceed, hiring counsel to, thoroughly look at this. I did look at that original ordinance, and I think I had some of the concerns where I'm not, to my recollection, I'm not sure if there was any penalty provisions in that ordinance.
There was none.
So if a ship violated that ordinance, what do we do with that? There's nothing there to do that. So the other thing is, I think I don't oppose any kind of discussions that with all the stakeholders that we've talked about, and if we can get safer, cleaner ships in the same room with Pier B, that would be great too. To see if there's any kind of discussion's never a bad thing. It may not lead anywhere, but at least I don't think it's ever a bad thing.
Okay. This end? Okay. We'll start with Commissioner Lopez and then Commissioner Wardlow.
Certainly. I don't think that we can pass an ordinance on second reading unless we have, as Commissioner Davila just alluded to, unless we have had the additional input from other stakeholders that have something to say. I mean, again, there is the I'm sorry, Shawn, the term that you used, the dual commerce clause.
Yes, sir, the dormant commerce clause, dormant.
Okay. And so, I mean, with those considerations, and then other considerations that other input that others may have. Again, I feel like we have so many dueling interests on this one particular issue, and we're the ones that are bobbing in the water here, and that's my greatest concern. I mean, granted, there's no question that we want to satisfy the will of the people, so to speak, from the election and passage of the referenda. The issue, though, is that we have other people that also have interest as well, that, including the state, who can take action against us. So those, again, all of those, I think all of those individuals, or at least representatives from all those individuals, need to be at the table. Let's get as much input as we can. I'm always in favor of getting as much input and information as we can before we take that final step. That's all I can say.
Commissioner Wardlow?
Yeah, Shawn, you said there was another firm out of Fort Lauderdale that you were waiting to hear back from?
Well, I haven't reached out to them. They expressed an interest after Sam Gorin had recommended that firm. I want to see what this commission wants to do. I have three things right now. Reach out to interested attorneys, which this first one would be the gentleman that I was referred to. I would also contact the Florida League of Cities. Commissioner Hoover has suggested someone that's going to reach out as well. The second item I have is discussion on all cruise issues. And the third item is who drafted, whether it was Ralph Brooks or not, that draft ordinances.
I'd like to see you reach out, to the people in Fort Lauderdale and see if they could come aboard with us, because, I mean, this is, going on for a long time, like Commissioner Weekly said. And, I know we could do something with Mallory and Pier B, but the private property thing, I wouldn't want somebody to come into my property and tell me what to do. So I don't know how that works, but I think we could find out how it works. But and when you bring the stakeholders together, are you including Pier B and everybody that would be there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, that sounds good. Move ahead with it.
Commissioner Kaufman?
Yes. Shawn, I think the two tracks make sense to me. So we need an attorney, remember, because in the event there's litigation, we need to have confidence that the ordinance is defendable in court and will hold up to challenge. And that's what we want to know, because the taxpayers have a lot at stake potentially. So we need to have an attorney. Sam Gorin would have been great. I think that was Commissioner Weekly's suggestion, and I think that would have been fantastic. And if he's making a referral, we should follow up, I think, in my view, first with what his suggestion is. But whatever else from Florida League of Cities and Commissioner Hoover, let's work on that track. The second track, in terms of discussions, I think we should take it a step further. I think we should invite all the parties to a formal mediation. I think we should identify a mediator. It could be Judge Taylor, who does an amazing job in complicated cases with multiple parties. We should have, with a formal letter from you, Shawn, inviting Carib Nautical, inviting the owners of Pier B, inviting the Navy, and inviting Safer Cleaner Ships. And whatever parameters they have, they need to communicate in advance and have a date. And I would plead with all the parties, please try to compromise. Please try to be reasonable. If you all can come to an agreement, you will save our taxpayers potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars of attorney's fees, number one. You will end the thought of preemption. You will end litigation. So try to work if they could come up with an agreement, and please, if you can, do it. And that way, then they can bring back whatever ordinance they come up with in that mediation, and hopefully we can be done with it. But we have to go both tracks, because in the event that they cannot successfully mediate, then we still have to go forward with counsel.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense, Commissioner Kaufman. I'd like to get some clarification, though, on the ordinance. I mean, we have always talked about creating a legally defensible ordinance. Does that require outside counsel, in your opinion?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I would want, for me, I would want someone with expertise in defending federal litigation in
write
these
the ordinance?
areas of Commerce Clause, of government takings.
Okay.
Definitely, I mean, I would want to have the expertise.
All right. So in
that
your
caliber.
opinion, we can't move forward with an ordinance until we hire outside counsel?
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to vote in favor without having legal counsel giving us the confidence that it could be successful upon challenge, yeah.
Commissioner Davila, you agree with that?
No, I agree. I think outside counsel will be, valuable for this. The law is broad. Shawn has a lot of hats, a lot of areas that he covers, and I'm sure he would do a valiant job at doing this. But just to find someone with specific knowledge of this, I think would be, really important for us.
All right. Okay, so do we have an agreement to move in a parallel path then?
Yeah.
With mediation along with the hiring of the outside counsel? We have agreement there?
Yeah.
Commissioner Wardlow?
Yeah, Sean, if worse comes to worse, can we go out of state, or they have to belong to the Florida bar?
As long as they're licensed to practice law in the state of Florida,
Okay.
or have an office. Plus, they can get admitted pro hoc vice, which means they're not licensed here, but they're overseen by somebody here.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Commissioner Wheatley?
You know, I just want to emphasize this. This is something that we have to remember, is that we're trying to support what the voters of Key West has said. It's very important that we support that referendum. But you know what? Safer, Cleaner Ships has done a fabulous job in what they did. Now the ball's in our court. Now we have to perform. Whoever we hire, we're going to be their client. They're not going to be the client of Safer, Cleaner Ships or anyone else. So they will be working at our direction through our legal department, through Shawn and everyone else. So we have to keep that in mind. We appreciate what was done, but now we've got to perform our duty that we've taken an oath to through the charter and everything else.
Any other comments? And Shawn, I think you had one more issue. We were requested to get an update on Beachside.
Yeah.